Today's lesson is about comparing and ordering rational numbers. All that means is that you're going to be comparing fractions and decimals and seeing which one is least and which one's greater. So you're going to use less than and greater than or equal to. And you're also going to be putting them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. So make sure that you are understanding how to do it. Now today's strategy is using models or common denominators, so that means that we're just going to be using fractions to order them to make sure that you remember what you've been doing since last year. So let's hope that you do remember. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we have one that is comparing and one is that you're putting them in order from least to greatest. I'm going to go ahead and put that because usually they'll tell you they want it least to greatest or greatest to least. So remember, when you're going least to greatest is going to be ascending order. And greatest to least is descending order. Now, this is something you need to write on your notes because those are the words that they're going to be using and we need you to understand them. So make sure that you have paper and pencil to take notes, and you're going to do some problems on your own after I go over all this. So let's start with using models. So you have 3/5 compared to 1/2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a big rectangle and draw it there. Now what I'm going to do, I know how to draw half, so I'm going to do half. And that's what I'm doing here. Now I'm going to do 3/5. Now, the only thing with models is that sometimes you can't put them exactly where you need them. So we need to make sure that when we're drawing models, we're trying to get as close as possible as we can. So here's your half. I'm going to color it a different color so you could see it. Okay, and here's my 3/5. So 1, 2, 3. So that means 3 are shaded in out of 5 total. So in this case, if you notice where this ends, 3/5 is more than half. So we're going to go ahead and say 3/5 is greater than half. So I use models just by doing that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see when we have more than 2 numbers. So again, we're drawing a rectangle, but I'm going to draw it a little bit bigger. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide it into 4 parts because we have 4 fractions. Now, each of those represents one of those problems, one of those numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and do the fourths. So I'm going to do fourths. And I'm going to shade it in. So 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to do the eighths because it has eighths. And if you notice, they're not exactly the same, but it gives you an idea of where you're going to be. So 3/8. There you go. Then you're going to draw half. So here's half. And then you're going to do 1/4. So 1/4. So in this case, we're going to put them in order. So if you notice, 1/4. This is 1/4, this is 1/2, this is 3/8, and this is 3/4. So my smallest number would be 1/4. So we know that's correct. Then we're going to go with 3/8. So that's correct. After that is half. And then the last one is 3/4. So using models helps, especially if you know how to draw the model. The only thing is that when you're using models, it is going to be really close, especially of those fractions that are really close to each other. So I'm going to show you another strategy on how to order them this way. But if you could use models and you're able to draw them as close as possible to the same size for each section, then you should be able to use this strategy. So here, what we're using is common denominator. And when we're using common denominators, we're trying to find the multiple that they have in common. So like for this one here, you have 3, 6, 9, 12. So you're skip counting by 3. And then I'm going to skip count by 9, 18, 27, and 36. So if you notice, the common denominator or the common multiple is 9. So what I do is I'm going to take 1/3 times something will give me a 9 as my denominator. So 3 times 3, 3 times 3 will give you 9. So 1 times 3 will give you 3. So now now it's compared 3 9s compared to 8 9s. So in this case, I know that all I have to look at is my numerators. So I know 3 is less than 8. So then my answer would be 1/3 is less than 8 9s. So that's how you find common denominator. Now when you have more than one, like we do here, and again, we're going to go ahead and do least to greatest. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do my common denominators. So I'm going to put them up here. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Then you have 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. And then you have 18, 36, and then 9, 18, 27. So just looking at that, 18 is my common denominator with all three of them. So that's your least common denominator, so we're going to go ahead and change all of them to 18. So you have 2/3 times something will give you 18. Then I have 1/6 times something will give me 18. 5 18ths, that's already done. So then 7 9s times something will give me 18. So that's something. So 3 times what gives you 18? So that's going to give you 3 times 6. So 2 times 6 is 12. Then we go with 6 times something gives you 18. So that's 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. And then 9 times something gives you 18. So that's 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. So now I have all these to compare. So we're just going to look at the denominator. So if you look at it, you have the numerator, 12, 3, 14, and 5. So we're going from least to greatest. So then that means my first number would be 3. So the 3 was 1/6. So I'm going to write it originally. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1/6. So we got that one. Then it's 5. That the original is 5/18. Okay. Then it's 12, so which was 2/3. And then the last one would be 14, which is 7 9s. And there, we found our answer, least to greatest. So common denominators helps to put them in order from least to greatest. So remember, if you list the multiples of each number, it helps you find the common denominator. Sometimes you could just look at the numbers and you could tell right away. I knew 3, 6, and 9 were factors of 18, so that's why I knew that 18 was my common denominator. But this strategy over here helps you find that common denominator. So make sure that you're looking for that. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to try it on your own. So you could either use the models or you could use common factors. It's whatever you feel more comfortable with. I'll go ahead and give you the answers and check your answers to see which one, if you got it correct. If you got it incorrect, go back and see what you might have done wrong. I'm not going to show you the strategy, so you need to find your mistakes somewhere. So make sure that you are looking back So stop the video, come back to the video so you could see if you have your answer correct. Okay, so here's your answers. So 5/7 is greater than 3/9. So make sure that you understand that this is going to be the correct answer. If you did it incorrectly, make sure you go back and see what you did wrong. And then the next one, the second problem is least to greatest. So you have 1/12, 1/6, 3/8, and 2/3. So again, if you feel like if you got this incorrectly, go back and see what you could have done wrong. The common denominator, so I'm going to give you that. The least common denominator for this strategy is going to be 24. So make sure that if you didn't use least common denominator, you have it. The least common denominator for the first one would be 63. So if you use common denominator, make sure you go back and look at that. If you use models, be careful because the first one, those are too close to see which one's greater. And then this one, you could have done that, this one with models. But make sure that if you use least common denominator, you have 63 for the first one and 24 for the second one. So hopefully you got it correct. And then what you need to do is go to your assignment and get to work on that.